Good morning. Hello.
9:30 in the morning, a conference centre in Birmingham, and an all-day session with store managers from across Britain.
It's only 342 days till Christmas, right?
Anne Iverson does things with style. And when the chief executive claps, you all clap. She is the highest paid woman in Britain, already credited with turning round companies like British Home Stores and Mothercare. Now she's got a real challenge on her hands. Laura Ashley. It's a brand with a problem, an image problem. It was the success story of the 70s, but the company ran into severe difficulties when the look became outdated. Can Iverson turn it round and bring the company back into fashion and into profit? Laura Ashley died on her 60th birthday as a result of a fall at her daughter's home. It was, of course, a personal tragedy for the family. For the company, it came on the eve of a new era, going public. The share issue was massively oversubscribed. Everyone expected that the profits would continue, but by the start of the 90s, the share price plummeted and the company went into the red.
Its high point profitability was in 1988 at 23 million. By 1989, it had come down to 20 million, and the following year, it had recorded a loss of some 8 million. Its low point profitability took place in 1995, when it recorded a 31 million pound loss. That included 34 million of restructuring. So it's been an interesting and somewhat problematic history in the early 90s to the mid 90s.
It's the pockets that are too heavy, aren't they, really? So I think if we
86, 87, 88, start of the early 90s, fashion was not about looking pretty in a little frock. It was about power dressing, it was about leggings and looking really active, and though you were busy, 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 and you were leaping off planes all the time, and you had millions of deals to close. So poor old Laura Ashley, the company, really didn't know where to go.
A year and a half ago when I came, I told all of you how proud I was of this brand. We knew it was time for a change, a time to move on, and actually get into the 90s.
The press launch of the Spring-Summer 1997 collection. A new step, as the two sides of the company, home and garments, have never been shown together before. For Iverson, the first woman to run the company since Laura Ashley, it is a crucial day. It is the first collection produced under her leadership, a leadership which has cost the company a salary and bonus package of over £900,000 in her first year. Now the press will decide whether she's worth the money.
Oh, brilliant.
So, as you can see, we've really brought fashion and home right next to each other.
Yeah.
We've got live models, 4 adults and 2 little girls.
Yeah.
They've never seen it like this before. So,
Well, it's just the beginning, and I'm very, very pleased with it.
I would consider her as a turnaround artist. She comes in, cuts, slices, dices, peels away the fat. She comes back to the stockholders with a new product, new designs. She did that over at Storehouse. She did that over at Mothercare. She's good at it. She's one of the best female executives we have in the world.
You're looking at my new office.
That's great.
Isn't that wonderful?
Message. I love
I'm
it.
so excited.
Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah,
With
exactly.
The planes? Good.
Yeah, I'm going to do the planes with all the accessories and then the wing chair.
It's the first time people see any of this collection before it comes into the shops. It really is us telling everyone what we're doing and what the collection stands for and how it's been designed and everything. You can hear there's birds singing and grasshoppers, so it's all meant to be the feeling of being outside in the countryside. We wanted to create a feeling of lifestyle, of people actually doing things in the rooms.
I think it looks lovely. I think it's very nice the way that they've displayed the homes and the clothes together, because it kind of puts it together in a whole brand lifestyle situation, which is what Laura Ashley is all about, really.
They're readdressing their own
image, you know, to involve sort of newer customers, you know, younger people. And there's a great black sleeveless dress, and then it's just got very bold white flowers. People think flowers, they think Laura Ashley, but you know, you can do them in a very abstract way and very big.
It's just the beginning of how we're thinking differently. It's only going to build on this, isn't it?
It is.
Iverson wanted her office in Laura Ashley, and she got it. Whatever the boss says goes. But she's no one-woman band. She's gathered around her a new team of executives, mostly American and mostly women. It's reckoned that Laura Ashley is now the most female-run company in Britain. They've got a tough task: how to turn round a company whose name has become a shorthand for out-of-date 70s fashion.
The problem is that we have a very small group of incredibly loyal customers, and there's a lot of women out there that look like they should be Laura Ashley customers. They have the same lifestyles, they have the same interests, they have the same income, but they just don't even cross our threshold.
When you walk into a brand, as I did, you begin with where you are today at this point in time. You talk to non-customers, customers you've lost, and people you currently have. They begin to articulate for you the brand values as they perceive them.
They put together the same kind of imagery and they use the same words. Some of the real amusing things are that you always get sheep. Wherever you talk to a Laura Ashley potential customer, they immediately think about the countryside. There's a real recognition that Laura Ashley has got a timeless elegance, and you can see the beautiful bedrooms, English tea, darling, divine, all sorts of imageries like these. This was a great one that was put together in one of the focus groups by, I think it was a school teacher was leading this group. Again, it's about family. She's got a big estate to drive her children round in. It's about Devon cream. There's this really, really strong understanding of what's at the heart of the brand.
They already have their own niche, but I think they need to capitalise on all the things that Laura Ashley stands for, which is it's a certain quality of life. Country, leisure, restful, very attractive things that have even more appeal than they ever did, I think. But it's just interpreting them in a 90s way.
It's a company still rooted very much in the countryside. Manufacture, distribution, customer service, mail order, all housed in industrial hangars in the heart of rural Powys. Bizarrely, the old railway station at Carno became the powerhouse of a multinational business. But it was almost by chance that the Ashleys ended up in Wales at all.
We can pick out just the very...
Laura was born in the front room of a collier's row in Merthyr Tydfil, but she didn't grow up in Wales. She grew up in a very suburban South London home. She had this romanticised view of the Welsh past, and when her marriage was at a very low ebb, Laura just packed the children into a battered old Morris van and went. And she camped on the banks of a river for a while, and after a couple of weeks Bernard came up there, and then they found a home and they stayed.
The Welsh roots matter because they shape the company Anne Iverson has inherited. The factories date from the 70s, specialise in cotton, and are a hangover from the time when Laura Ashley was a manufacturer and the shops were an afterthought. But most retailers today don't bother running factories at all. The profit is in the shops. Lorries still trundle through rural Wales now, as they always have. The distribution centre is in Newtown, miles from the nearest motorway. When the new American management came in, the Welsh operation looked vulnerable.
When Anne and I first joined the organization, the Welsh manufacturing operations represented a substantial question, as did a number of other elements of our business.
When we went through the work, we discovered that in many areas we were cost competitive. In areas where we weren't, we could be. And that the benefit for quick response and focusing on printing of fabrics had to add tremendous value.
The Welsh factories dominate the home furnishing supply, but they make just a quarter of Laura Ashley clothes. The competition is real. They've been beaten by lower labour costs in Eastern Europe and the Far East, and there are no guarantees that they'll keep the work they've got. To Laura, the factories were part of the family. To Anne Iverson, they are a business that has to pay its way. But they're battling hard. The labour force has been cut by a fifth. They're diversifying into new fabrics and trying to improve efficiency.
We instituted a program which is called STOP, Seconds Take Our Profits in the Factories. In essence, the business was losing about 14% of everything it made, either through process loss or seconds. That was enough to carpet the road between Newtown and Geneva, quite a huge wastage. Since the beginning of the year, we've managed to have that number, and we intend to have it again. So it's been a rather dramatic and substantial improvement. It was really a function of attending to the fundamentals, inspecting fabric as it arrives as a base cloth, and then ensuring that each step of the manufacturing process was carefully reviewed to understand where the failures were occurring and rectifying the failures not at the end of the production line, but at the beginning of it.
Good evening, Ashley by Post. How may I help you?
Mail order, also based in Wales, is, to use an Iverson phrase, a growth area. The drive here, and indeed everywhere, is to improve the quality of service. Iverson's philosophy runs through the whole company. It's simple, familiar, and effective.
A happy customer is the most important thing. There is no sense trying to explain to a customer why things go wrong. Just immediately apologize and say, how can I make it right? That's it.
I started on the shop floor in 1959 working for a department store. I think when you start on the shop floor that there's a tremendous amount of awareness of the customer first and how everything works backwards for the customer. And it should start that way in head office.
What do you think about mandating that people in Bagley's, not everyone, work one day a month in the shops?
I think they'll be really grateful. I mean, they want to get out there. I don't think it's going to be an issue at all.
They do get out, but they're not getting out with the frequency or for the duration that they arguably need.
I think it's particularly important for buyers and merchandisers.
And
designers to be at least
spend a full day in one store.
No, I want them to work in a store and live there and hear what customers said.
Absolutely.
In my opinion, it is 12 months a year. It is not just Christmas where people go out and bag and it's superficial and it's symbolic that head office people come out and work in a shop.
The shops are the bit of Laura Ashley that we all know. The marketing jargon for them is one point of view worldwide. What that means is whether you're in Aberdeen or Atlanta, Georgia, they all ought to look the same. Atlanta is home to the flagship store in the States. Across the malls of America, there are 171 Laura Ashley shops, and they pull in almost a third of the total turnover. But most are too small. Iverson's strategy is to close shops and replace them with new, larger stores. Atlanta is the first American store to receive the Iverson treatment. Floor space is 5 times larger than the old shop. Chandeliers, dark mahogany and antiques imported from Europe are all part of the new look. And compared with the standard Laura Ashley shop, much more space is given over to home furnishings. This is a prototype of the kind of global look that Anne Iverson is after.
I'm so used to the small shop, and I came in and it just, it took my breath away. I couldn't believe that, this was going to be my shop where I'd be working, to be surrounded by such beautiful things every day. And it just makes it such a joy to come to work and be a part of it.
Antiques and bringing across a piece of the culture and the roots of the company was critical.
It certainly gives us an opportunity to really show the full range of fabrics, which I think our North American customer has never been aware of before. It's a considerable jump in size. So most of our home furnishing stores, currently you would probably see 6 to 8 bays, whereas here I think you've got 92 bays.
The store opened 5 days ago. Now the senior management team has jetted in to check whether everything has gone according to plan.
The lamps up on the high shelf, I think it looks tacky to have the tag hanging down. Then you get into this. I want to be able to see how much it is because I can reach it and touch it. We were tucking in the price. Go ahead, let me help you.
Thank you.
Unzipped every cushion and tucked the price in because someone thought that the tags on the outside were untidy. I've just planned a whirlwind trip. Absolutely. Wait a minute. I'm obsessive. I'm like your worst nightmare on detail. Call Kathy.
I didn't mean to turn this into a project, and I'm getting frustrated every time I pick it up and want to find a price. Yesterday I was chatting with some outside guests in the shop, and I said, "Excuse me," and the table right over there was off-center on the rug. I couldn't carry on the conversation anymore. I had to stop. It was driving me nuts. I mean, that's an example of retail detail.
It is stunning because it's like the catalog came to life. All of those pages are in live product.
That's a great way to put it.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, the catalog did come to life.
It looks fabulous.
What's the next step now? That's where I am. So it's, let's dot I's, cross T's, retail is detail, but now what have we learned from this? You want to go over here and smush the cushion and let people know it's okay, you know, to actually sit down.
Right. This is how we live.
Right.
Yep, that is pretty. Look at that on you. It's a wonderful store, and the displays are great, and the size is wonderful for moving around, and we love it. We're just tickled to death.
With no more words, I'll cut the ribbon. And we're open.
What goes for America goes for the UK too.
The old management was very slow to see that we were producing too many products for our retail space. So double up. Common sense. I suppose really we had to wait for another woman to roll up. Maybe I shouldn't say that, I've got to be careful. But that's what's happened, in fact.
Cardiff, Brent Cross and Gateshead are the trailblazers along with Warrington, a new kind of store altogether.
Things have started to change in the UK from a shopping point of view. We've had high streets, we've had some shopping centers, and what we needed was an opportunity for edge-of-town customers to see the full width of the home furnishing. So Warrington is that. It is standalone home. It's almost 8,000 square feet. The customer response has been outstanding. They love it, and they're enjoying the home shopping and seeing the product in the true form so they can make a decision.
Everyone is doing up their houses these days, and Iverson believes that this is where the real potential for profit growth lies. Home furnishing is an area she's expanding, not only through the shops, but also mail-order catalogue sales. It's all about selling a complete lifestyle. Photo shoots for the catalogue happen in real houses, not studios. This one is pure Laura Ashley, right down to the lavender round the door. The owner, Val Guinness, didn't imagine she'd end up doing the wallpapering when she volunteered 3 of her rooms for a makeover. But the Laura Ashley decorators put the border up at the wrong height, so she and her housekeeper have offered their services to redo the room.
I think from Laura Ashley's point of view, it costs a great deal of money to build a set which shows the materials off properly, and it always looks more real and nicer if it's in somebody's home. They decided what wallpapers and what sort of decor. I'm not sure that I would have chosen the strawberry border, but we'll see what it looks like when it's up and the curtains are up and everything else. It may look fine.
I spend probably about a week running around looking for things that I think will actually go together in the room, and then bringing them all together in a great big lorry and hoping that they work.
The idea was to give it quite a quirky, very English feel about it. It wasn't, well, that should match with that, which should match with that. And I think that's really reflective of what we're trying to do in decorating in general, is really just say to people, here's a range of prints and fabrics, and the link is colour, and put them together in a way that you feel kind of comfortable with.
It's the sense of the countryside. It's got to have a touch of modern life about it. So you've got to get the right mood, but at the same time we've got to make sure we see really clearly the new curtains and the sofa and the cushions and the lighting. And we want to make it look not obvious, like we're not trying to sell this lamp by putting it right in the foreground, but make it feel like it just belongs in the room. So you get a real sense of a real place. It's the designs themselves that are becoming more modern, that they're much more pared down and simple. And what's interesting about this room is that the floral fabric is only on the window, it's not everywhere else in the room.
Yes, but doesn't it all look a bit, well, expensive?
We do want to show people an image that is aspirational, that does give them some ideas and something that feels slightly the idea of obtaining a dream. But I don't think what we're showing is something that is so out of reach of a lot of our customers.
Right, bed and bath.
I am so excited about bed and bath.
I'm very excited about bed and bath too. The business is excited about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Every image, every word in the catalogue has to have the Iverson stamp of approval.
What is your drop dead date?
This is a decision that does have to be made this week.
I don't want a gun to my head on content. When do we have to make a decision on what is content in the book? Today?
I thought Julie had signed that off.
Excuse me.
It's with,
Thank
but
you.
I'd assumed it had...
No.
Okay.
What is back there?
Just green. Just
why can't
trees?
Could I just see it without the blurriness?
It's impossible.
Fine.
So
you're telling me if I like her face, I have to be blurred spotlights in the back?
Absolutely.
Then I'm going to go get 15 other catalogs from your department and ask you how they do it, and we can't.
I guarantee you that it's not possible to have focus front and back.
Right. I know you can't have focus front and back. I'm talking about the difference of the focus between front and back.
It's interesting, though, because of the clarity of the person.
I don't mind being the odd one. Okay. Is that green? White out of green?
No, it's 80% of black, because it's the only one that works really on every single color reference.
You guys are creative. I don't want black in bed linen. Absolutely. I don't want a spot of black anywhere. I don't like that.
Oh, you don't? I really liked it.
Wear these easy clothes and don't let fashion cramp your style.
I like it.
I don't read it as I'm not a victim, but I'm still fashionable.
Yeah.
I read it as these are easy clothes and
they're not
sod fashion. You know.
Definitely not the intent. No, definitely.
Many of the designs are taken from old Welsh patchwork quilts, like this one, dated about 1880. The design of this patch is gradually transformed into sketches like this one, and then, finally, into a modern skirt, like this one here.
The original Laura Ashley clothes were, if anything, anti-fashion, designed to be worn by women at home and initially made by women in their homes.
When I was doing outwork, I used to get my kids to turn my collars and cuffs on. But trying to make your money on them was an art. Because you used to be on piecework, you see. You'd have a bundle, say you'd have a bundle of those first. The first time round, you'd hate them. You'd hate them because you just couldn't make your money on them. But the more you did, the faster you got. And in the end, you think, oh, yeah, I like these. Make me money on these.
There were very few trained seamstresses. Floors were legion. Laura tried to have higher standards and wanted to improve it, but they found that actually the customers didn't mind at all because it was part of the charm.
If you look, there's a bunch of gathers there, but there's none there at all.
Well, because you'd start at this end and you'd be shoveling them in, and by the time you got out end, you didn't have any. So you just put it on anyway.
But this was done to save fabric, to use up all the old fabrics, you know?
Well, they're nearly the same colour.
We had like a high neck with lace inserted, and the cutters, the knife slipped. So it went to different shapes, so they had to scoop out the neckline to make it a different style.
And it was a bestseller as well?
Oh, it was. Heck of a good seller.
By the mid-70s, dresses from Wales were being sold across Europe. Shops opened in Paris, Geneva, Brussels. No one predicted this phenomenal and unlikely success. Not even the Ashleys themselves.
You must say taxi, though. Go back, come out, move out, walk out. The garments have always remained a mystery. Beautiful. It was amazing when Laura had the whole world dressed as milkmaids. I mean, how she did it, I don't know, but she couldn't do that today.
A brand new version of the past was what she wanted. You couldn't go out in the streets wearing them, but people did. And she wanted this rural idyll to become part of everyday life. She wanted something that women in the home looking after children could be comfortable in. These were definitely not clothes for going out to work in.
The students loved them because they were £5. They didn't have to put the heating on because they kept them warm.
It was a reaction against 60s fashion. There were a lot of women who didn't want fashion that was dictated by men, so they certainly didn't want to wear these short, sharp miniskirts and plastic clothes and high boots. And they were very attracted by the sort of ecological appeal because Laura's clothes were all natural fibres, 100% cotton. The other great appeal, of course, was that they were very cheap.
That's the one part of the old image that the company has successfully shed.
We are seen to be very expensive. Certainly we're seen to be on the higher side of the high street pricing, and I can't claim that we've got it right. One of the issues we do have is that there's a real belief that Laura Ashley has cultivated an image of exclusivity, that we've really spent years saying we're not for you. We're for somebody who's supported by a rich man. There's lots of money involved, Old English cricket, skiing in St Moritz. You know, this is a perception that the Laura Ashley customer lives like this, when in fact we're on the high street. We need to appeal to a working woman with a real life. You know, not many people live like this. We're certainly more high priced than the Next and the Marks and Spencers of the world. The customer can't quite justify shopping with us, despite the fact that she knows it's higher quality and more unusual than a lot of things she'll get on the high street.
The pressure on the workforce to keep costs down is incredible. Each operation has a target time for completion. 1 minute and 11 seconds to iron a dress, 12 seconds to put the size cube on. A typical dress takes just 13 minutes in total to make.
All these figures give us a total minute value to make the garment, and that is what we get paid on. So all those operations all added up give us a total minute value for the garments.
You have certain minutes on a garment, and then you break it down between 6 people, and then 6 people have to get that garment out.
They've got set minutes, like for a back seam, it's a standard minute. If it's an extra long back seam, you get a little bit more. Well, not much though.
We measure everybody's efficiency every 2 hours. So from a supervisor's point of view, they do an efficiency count at 10 o'clock, at 12 o'clock, 2:30 and 4:30. And you'll see the boards around the factory actually tell you what the teams have done every 2 hours.
We compete with other teams that are on the same style. It's mainly watching what they're doing and saying, right, well, we've got to beat them.
We've got to go faster.
We've got to go faster than they have, yeah.
So there's a group down there and they were on 110 on this style. And we were just about getting 100, but we knew that we had to get 110
for the last week.
So we've got it this week, just to prove that we're just as good as them down there.
When the basic wage is £175 a week for the top skilled machinists, earning the bonus rates can be a big part of the pay packet.
If you really work hard, 110, that is 30% of your wage.
It's a slog. Like, as soon as the bell goes at 8 o'clock, every minute until 5 o'clock is like accounted for. If you can have a laugh, then it's a bonus for you, but that doesn't happen very often anymore. At the end of the day, we only come to work for the money, you know.
This is Sorbet. It's part of the new spring-summer collection. New fabrics, new patterns, new styles. The first clothes designed under Iverson's leadership.
The direction for design is to stay floral, stay feminine, become modern, incorporate a handwriting that marries garments and home furnishings so that the lifestyle and the mood is translated, and what draws you to the brand values in one category is consistent in the other.
From a design point of view, we've been stuck in a time warp for many, many years.
Basha Cohen is Iverson's right-hand woman. Brought in as head of design, she leads a team charged with revamping the product.
Customers want to be modern. They want to look like they're part of the times, frankly.
Okay, guys, the most important thing that
we have to address is what do we do with our famous square neck puff sleeve bow back dress, which we know is only in the collection from spring of '96. So it's not even ancient history, but this garment's been with us for 15 years now. So I really want to try and focus on the things that we can do to bring this shopper along. She's the same lady that was buying this, and she was the same lady that was buying this.
Anne Iverson's timing is brilliant because she's been there 18 months, but she's sort of getting into her stride just when fashion is coming round to the Laura Ashley look. For next season, all the designers were doing roses and flounces and frills.
The key look for us that's coming through is the botanical florals, which I think for high summer is going to be really strong, and also the furnishing florals, which could also help with the link into the home furnishing side.
Because it's the quintessential Laura Ashley floral.
Definitely.
And as we're trying to evolve the collection this season, it's probably one of the biggest conundrums for us, but I think right now for spring of '97, the fact that there are so many different flower interpretations, we should just play that up, but go for the bolder look in terms of those florals just to get us out of the rut of the perception.
And what we're really excited about is this new take on the floral dress. I mean, it's something that we feel is possibly a little bit of a risk, but all the trend predictions are saying, you know, these big florals and the placement prints. Again, it's not a cotton fabric, but it's very feminine, it's very fluid. And we just love this bold starkness of the floral.
Knockout.
Yeah,
it's got sales written all over it.
I think the only risk that we can take as a business is not taking a risk at this point. We've just gotten, I mean, the sales haven't been improving based on what we've been doing, so we might be appealing to a certain audience, but it's not expansive enough to really grow the business to the degree that we want. I think it's fantastic.
Each design still begins with an artist and a blank sheet of paper. Brian Jones began work here 25 years ago. He was part of a small design team that worked closely with Laura Ashley herself.
Mrs. Ashley would get her inspiration from junk shops, Victorian scraps of fabric, bits of old crockery.
We normally find that a design won't sell very well unless we have a nostalgia of the past about it.
We did this in the early 70s. She said, wouldn't this make a beautiful wallpaper? And we sort of looked and looked again. And within an hour, we'd adapted it into this print. And the secret was that she wanted every spot to be done as a blob. Imperfect. This one is still in the collection today, 20-odd years later.
We've been antique shopping. We love this 1950s print dress. This is one of our prints based on this dress. Rather than going to the sort of traditional cotton, we've got a cotton feel viscose, but it goes into lots more contemporary shapes.
We're looking at this more feminine element for the sorbet group for Easter dressing, so just like 100% cotton garment, machine washable, so there's that kind of more easy care element as well.
And what price point do you think we need to put that out at?
30 plus.
Do you think that if it goes out at £40, it's too high?
From what we know in the past, our customers, if they see value on fabrication, then there isn't a resistance to the price point. So if it works out around about 40, I think we could live with that.
We said that when we were ready with the brand and the change and the evolution of that change was ready to take place, we would start a marketing campaign. So we really hope you get out there and sell and invite new customers in.
Phase one of the campaign is a TV ad produced in a joint deal with a well-known soap company.
Do you want to have another run through? I do want to have another run through because I want to hear how quickly you hear Laura Ashley.
Linking up with another company is a subtle and cheaper way to advertise.
For impeccable clothes, Laura Ashley only recommend Ariel.
Now what are you going to do about that NAF label at the back?
I've told them to reshoot it. Trouser suit yet, but the first of the new collection has arrived, and they're finding things a bit tricky.
The new collection here in Shrewsbury is always a little bit slow to get off. It will start to go, but we have had comments saying it's not traditional, it's not the Laura Ashley that we used to know. We are slightly down year on year, and we do have very loyal customers. I mean, this is all very different for them.
Another bestseller outfit is the lovely peony. The jacket and the skirt are being bought almost one-to-one.
I can't wait to get that. When is it going to be available? Only through mail order now. It's a March 3rd launch.
Well,
I cannot wait to get
originally, that is among the top 5 bestsellers in mail order. That lovely little pistachio number. And the strawberry group across all of the styles is doing the best by far, and that's what you'd really forecast, hadn't you? That it really is the all-store buy.
Pink's not really my colour. Looks a bit pale on me. Oh, that is nice. That is beautiful. Like that.
The shops have only got the first phase of the new collection. The store managers in Birmingham are getting a sneak preview of what's going to arrive in the shops between now and the end of May.
It's so good, I've got you. So nice now. Still going fast now. So good, so nice. I've got you.
The pressures are intense, as they should be, but I have said from the beginning, not only is it doable and can it be fixed, but I've also said it's a 4-year process. It is not going to happen overnight.
The presentation was fantastic. New collections were really exciting.
Absolutely fantastic. Garments will sell well.
A customer coming into a store would actually be able to find something for her, and very surprised by the look of Laura Ashley.
I'm really encouraged by what I've seen today, and I think we'll have a very good spring-summer season.
The colour palette and the mood, I think hopefully this is us on the right track.
I think we're all going away really enthused about it.
The store managers are just itching to get out there and sell, sell, sell. But in a world as fickle as fashion, there's always an element of risk. No one knows whether the revamped designs will attract a new market or frighten off existing customers. The new collections are ready to go out from the warehouse to shops worldwide. The next 6 months will show whether Laura Ashley really is on the way to being back in bloom. The share price plummeted and the company went into the red.
Its high point profitability was in 1988 at 23 million. By 1989, it had come down to 20 million, and the following year, it had recorded a loss of some 8 million. Its low point profitability took place in 1995, when it recorded a 31 million pound loss. That included 34 million of restructuring. So it's been an interesting and somewhat problematic history in the early 90s to the mid-90s. When Ann and I first joined the organization, the Welsh manufacturing operations represented a substantial question.
during the period 85-ish to the present day, labour turnover has fluctuated, but probably averages over 50% at the moment. And at one time it had reached the 60s, and in certain factories had climbed to almost 100% in certain areas. There was a period where, people will look back and say the company lost its skilled labour force.
Coupled with this dreadful situation, in May 1989, the work from the cutting room, due, I was told, to the computerised cutting and its teething problems, arrived late, and this situation went on until September. Numerous phone calls to the cutting room, memos to my superiors regarding the situation and the cost to the unit, a cost we had to answer for due to the incompetence of others. Targets which could not be met because we had no cut work, but were still expected to do so. My concern over the labour turnover was increasing, as indeed the figures were alarming. The last figure up to October, approximately 70%. Despite my repeated warnings that the skill was disappearing from Machynlleth, even to the point of discussing this with the then managing director to no avail, no one in the company wanted to know.
The company were paying my staff and paying outside contractors for having the work made up that my staff could have produced quite easily. At the time, I didn't think there was anything particularly dubious. Although the more discussions went on and as time went on, it became, how can I say, more difficult to rationalise what was happening. And the thought of, the company's own units having to struggle for work and then finding out that work had gone to outside contractors, it didn't make a lot of sense.
One of them was manager Howell Jones, who'd spent 13 years with the company. He claims that after the death of Laura Ashley, the company started getting rid of old and loyal employees, stripping the clothing division of skilled people and undermining the morale of people in the factories.
We instituted a program which is called STOP, Seconds Take Our Profits in the Factories. In essence, the business was losing about 14% of everything it made, either through process loss or seconds. That was enough to carpet the road between Newtown and Geneva, quite a huge wastage. Since the beginning of the year, we've managed to have that number, and we intend to have it again. So it's been a rather dramatic and substantial improvement. It was really a function of attending to the fundamentals, inspecting fabric as it arrives as a base cloth, and then ensuring that each step of the manufacturing process was carefully reviewed to understand where the failures were occurring and rectifying the failures not at the end of the production line,